Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. We'll go ahead and get started. And as people come in, they'll be able to join the presentation. So thank you so much again for being here. My name is Tamara Luetta, and I am the Workforce Development Coordinator here at the City of Houston Office of Business Opportunity. Again, thanks so much for being here. A couple of housekeeping items. The session is being recorded, so we ask you to please remain on mute. And if you have any questions through any of the presentations, please put those in the chat and we will answer them after our presenters have gone through their presentation. So we have a couple of really great presenters today with the Houston Financial Empowerment Center and with Metro to go through budgeting your paycheck. So that is going to run through everything from interpreting your paycheck and then also some resources with Metro to help you budget your transportation. So let's go ahead and get started with our first presenter. So we have Noemi Flores with the Houston Financial Empowerment Center. She is a financial counselor that has a long background in predatory lending, retail management, and database administration and customer relations. She has strategically applied her experience to educate, empower, and change the financially disadvantaged economic outlook. Noemi is certified as a credit counselor by the National Association of Certified Credit Counselors. As a financial counselor, Noemi enjoys the ability to gain people's trust and respect, and it is a privilege that she holds in the highest regard. So thank you, Noemi, for joining us today.
Hi, thank you for having me, Tamara. So I am Noemi Flores. I have a question. Are you just gonna control the slides? Okay, I'll let
Yes,
you know.
so just tell me when to click forward and I'll do that.
All right, so let's get into the nitty gritty. So this is my money dance. Do the money dance. I wanted to say congratulations to everybody who is working. I know that right now things are tight. So the first thing that you want to feel excited, right? Because you're going to work, you ain't doing it for free. You want to get that paycheck. So let's see if it's really what you were expecting it to be, and make sure that you're prepared for what it's going to be like. You can go to the next slide. New hire paperwork. God, I can't even think of a most boringest 2 hours of your life that you're going to do when you first start working. Just all this paperwork. But one of these forms is, well, it's all important, right? But one form in particular, it depends on how you fill it out because you're going to quickly feel the effects of how you fill this form out. It's called your W-4. This is your federal tax withholding information. There's only 3 little boxes. If you can see my beautiful green pictures, we got basic information, where you live, where you work, where you live, your name, social, and it can be very complicated in the event that you have steps 2 to 4. 2 to 4 is going to ask whether is this your only job, are you married and have 2 jobs, items like that. If it's just you and this is your only employment, you don't have a secondary, you can skip number 2 and 3 and 4 and just go down to the very bottom where you just slap your Hancock on there with the date. When you're single or you don't have dependent, this isn't a dating application. Like when you're single that you don't have any dependents, you just do a basic 1040 easy tax return. Usually you put 0 or 1 on your federal withholding to make sure that they take out sufficient taxes so that you don't owe at the end of the year when you do your tax return. So this here is pretty important because this is what's going to determine what money is held by your employer and given to the IRS. You can go on to the next slide. So who is Uncle Sam? Okay, and why is he getting paid for me? Everybody pays taxes. That's the great thing about America is that everybody has the ability to earn as much as you like or as much as you're able to. But Uncle Sam's going to get his cut. So I always recommend clients to go onto the actual IRS website. Up until maybe 2 or 3 years ago, there was a lot of different apps that you can use or calculators to try to determine how much withholding is going to be done on your check. But now the IRS has one, and it's going to ask you very specific information about your tax filing status. The very first one that I see here is, what will your filing status be on your tax return? So are you single? Are you married? Married filed separately, head of household, qualifying widow? There is a slight thing to consider whether you're single or you're a head of household when you have dependents. So when you're single and you're not married, that you're on somebody else's tax return, but you have children or dependents, you are there classified as a head of household if you maintain 50% or more of the living cost for that year. And that adds a whole lot of extra tax credits at the end of the year. Your return, like I said, can be anywhere from 1% up to 10% of your gross. It really depends on how you fill out your W-4. And then there's a few other things that are mandatory for tax withholdings. The screen is kind of small, so I apologize, but oh, go back. Um, there's Social Security, which is a flat 2.6.2%. And then there's Medicare, which is a flat 1.4%. These two they don't fluctuate depending on your income. And they also are paid for by your employer. Your employer matches these contributions. And I'll explain what that is in a little bit. You can go to the next slide. So once you know that you're going to be withheld at, I don't know, 3% of your federal taxes, there's plenty of online paycheck calculators that you're able to use. I've snipped a few of the ones that are reputable. Definitely never download anything onto your computer. If you can't just use the website version, don't do it. Move on to another one. You definitely need to know what state you're in. Different states have different tax laws, and in the state of Texas, we don't actually pay a state tax. But in the event that you work, I don't know, in West Virginia, you do. So those are just things that you need to know. What state will you be filing your income tax return out of? And what was on your W-4 information that you previously filled out? You can go to the next one. So it's time to take it to the bank. A paycheck or check stub, this is a receipt for your services. This is your proof that you worked and you were compensated. There's a few things on here that you want to make sure when you first receive your paycheck, because they can hurt you in the future. For example, your name, your address. Mistakes happen. So I've had an employer before put my middle name as my first name and my first name as a middle name. And the first check was a live check. It wasn't direct deposited. That was just their policy. I couldn't cash my check because the names were not matching what was on my ID. So I had to go back, get a new check cut. It happens. Mistakes will happen. So make sure, just glance at it really quick. Your name, make sure it's spelled correctly. That can cause a problem too. I've had somebody spell my name with my first name with the with the C instead of a K, and therefore I had to get two W-2s at the end of the year, one for the one with the C and one with the K. So be careful about that. The other information is you want to verify the federal withholding that you put down on your W-4 form. This is going to be important because this is also going to be the information that's on your W-2 at the end of the year. You need your W-2 in order to file your taxes. Then you want to make sure that your rate is correct. How much is it that you get paid for per hour? Usually this is a conversation and it's also documented in your new hire paperwork, but make sure that you're getting paid what you agreed to get paid and that your hours are correct. There's other benefits that you can see information displayed on this particular example here. I used a very basic payroll check. So you don't see any of the additional benefits packages, which is 401k contributions, stock balances, paid time off, vacation balances, holiday pay, compensation pay. Compensation time is actually comp time. There's some employers that aren't allowed to pay extra overtime. So what they do is those hours that you work extra, they give you almost like a little like savings account of them, and you can use them at your own discretion in the future. Um, it's very similar to like paid time off, except for paid time off you earn based on the hours you work, and comp time is hours that you worked extra. The gross amount is not all that is part of your benefits package. There's so many other things that we don't see because all we see is our gross and our net on our paycheck, but there's more behind the scenes that are part of your benefits package. You can get a job paying $10 an hour and work 40 hours a week, but that's not the full amount that your employer is paying in order to have you on the payroll. There's some additional items such as your 401 contributions, if they give you stock after a year, after 5 years, pay time off, holiday pay, that's all in addition to your salary. You can go to the next page or next slide, sorry. So your employer also pays the same amount of taxes to your Social Security benefits, which is 6.2%. And your employer also pays Medicare 1.45% to your Medicare. This is going to come in handy in the future when you retire. You can log on to the Social Security Administration and create a profile and kind of just keep an eye on how much you would get when you actually go to retire. Whether you want to retire at 62, 65, and 67, I think, are the three main ones. The longer you wait, the more money you'll get. But it's important to see that your employer is contributing to your future as well. It's not just your contribution, it's your employer's as well. And also, as I said earlier, in Texas, we don't have to pay taxes, but we do have to pay sales taxes on everything we buy, but that's another webinar. Go to the next page. So some quick and dirty facts. Gross pay. Gross pay is not something that's going to make you throw up. It's just your gross. How much money is your time, worth? Net pay is what we're taking to the bank, what's being deposited. It's not, it's not in conjunction to any incentives or anything like that. Net pay is just what goes into the bank account after all your taxes, all your deductions are deducted from your gross. There's some other items that are kind of important to know, being in the workforce field, workers' compensation coverage. Something that's notable to me is that Texas doesn't require employers to purchase this insurance. This is in case you get hurt on the job. If something happens, they're not going to be responsible for that. However, some employers do have workers' compensation, and they cover you either time off, going to the doctor, and some miscellaneous medical services that you might need due to the fact that you got injured on the job. The EEOC is an Equal Opportunity Commission. It is responsible for enforcing federal laws that make it illegal to discriminate against a job applicant or an employee because of pregnancy, transgender. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed one. Because of someone's weight, race, color, religion, sex, including pregnancy, transgender status, sexual orientation, natural origin, age, 40 and older, disability, or genetic information. The EEOC takes those complaints very seriously. If you feel or if you ever notice or see that you're being discriminated against, this is where you would file a complaint with the EEOC against your employer. There is also a Texas payday law. Our payday law is known also as the Texas Payment of Wages Act. This basically states that your employer must pay you in accordance to what's written in your handbook. If you get paid every 2 weeks on a Friday, you need to get paid every 2 weeks on that Friday. Otherwise, you can file a complaint against the employer. Employment discrimination covers employers that have at least 15 employees and protects against discrimination upon race, color, gender, national origin, religion, age, and disability. And then we have timesheet accuracy. There are some employers that will have you clock in and clock out on a computer system. You know, there is integrity behind that you know once you clock in, you are working and you don't leave without clocking out and leave yourself clocked in, you know, kind of riding the clock, I think is what we used to call it back in the day. An employee is actually responsible for the accuracy, not the employer. In the event that it is a program that generates how many hours, it's your responsibility as the employee to make sure that you have access to that you can verify, that you can either print it out for your own records, maybe just select a little click saying, yes, I worked this. In the event that there's ever scrutiny behind timesheet, it will fall on the employee. So please always make sure that your timesheet is accurate. Go to the next page. So the financial the financial empowerment centers, we have 3 located around Houston. Part of this presentation is also to just inform, to educate, and to empower. But in the event that you need some extra one-on-one support, we are a free service. We service anybody in the greater Houston area that is 18 or older. It's the only requirement that we have. And we are performing right now. We're transitioning going back to the office. So right now we're working remote, but in the event that you do kind of need, you know, that face-to-face, these are the 3 locations that we would be able to assist you in person. Next slide. How to schedule an appointment. We've really digitalized our intake process. You can do everything over internet without needing any assistance. However, in the event that you do, or you're maybe confused on how to go about getting established with us, we do have a data coordinator that will walk you through the process and explain each step one by one, so that you're comfortable with it. You're able to see our calendars. We have 6 counselors, and 3 of us are bilingual in Spanish and Vietnamese as well. So you can select which counselor you want to meet with based on your specific need of language or just our availability. It's completely up to you. And then we also have Anna Gonzalez, which she is here. Wave, Anna. She is our program manager, and she also provides support to the team in order to make sure that we don't overlook or miss anybody reaching out to get connected with us. Do we have any questions? No? There has to be something.
I did ask a question in the chat.
Oh, okay. Let me look. Sorry, I'm in a different screen.
All good. So I asked, once you have your net pay in the bank, what are some essential things to consider when budgeting your household expenses?
So everybody's budget is different. Everybody's household, everybody's financial makeup is going to be different. One of the most successful starters that I have had success with my clients, regardless of age and regardless of household size, is the 50-20-30 rule. So this would be something that I would provide to my client on the one-to-one session, providing support, understanding of the 50-20-30 rule. But I'll quickly go over it if time permits right now. So what I always tell my clients is to allocate 50% of your income for your necessities. This is your rent, your light, your water, card, whatever is necessary. There's no way around it. It's gonna get paid. Okay. Then we have the bucket of 20 and 30% of your income. For somebody who is single and doesn't have a lot of overhead expenses, I would say save 30%, live off of 20. Somebody like me that has baby kids, I can't do that. So mine is the opposite. I'll save 20 and live off of 30 because Pampers are not cheap though. So I got to allocate some money on that, right? So what happens is when you structure your bills like that, you start paying attention to what are your necessities. You can really see whether you can afford the apartment or the home that you're trying to purchase. Does it exceed 50% of your income? Would you be able to support it in the event that you lose a job, you become unemployed? Would you be able to support it if it's more than 50% of your income? These are important questions that you want to ask. I also, for clients that are starting out that aren't too sure about how to budget, I use a tool that is realitycheck.com. You can kind of just go in there and play with it and decide what your life is going to look like. Do I want a house? Do I want an apartment? Do I want kids? Do I not want kids? And it builds out what the expenses would be in the city that you choose. For example, Houston. The living expenses in Houston are going to be very different than Kingsville, right? So you select what city or what metropolitan you would ideally want to, live in and build out your life. So you have an idea, this is how much housing costs in this area. So that's another tool that I would use with my clients. But I have had a lot of success with the 50-20-30 rule. A lot of success. Does that answer that?
Yes, quickly jotted down. So you said the necessity 50, saving and or expensive can flip flop on the 20 or 30%.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay.
I've even had a client who was heavily doing 10% into their 401. So it was actually coming out of their gross, not their net. But that allowed us, me knowing that he had 10% of his income going gross before taxes to his 401, he had a little bit more leeway on his 20 and 30. So on his 20, he actually ended up using that for credit card debt. He could invest a whole 20% of his paycheck to the debt portion and then still lived off of the 30% because he was already saving. Um, on average, I forgot to mention this, but one thing is with your employer, ask what their 401 looks like and if there's a match involved. If there's a match involved, match it. For example, an employee can say, I'll match 5% up to 5%, 100% up to 5%. So I'm going to contribute 5% of my check to get 5% from their money. That's free money. That's going towards my retirement. So that's another thing to kind of keep in your preview. Like, what are you saving? What are you saving for retirement? Are you also looking into like a money account or Roth, IDA, those types of accounts? And you can easily do that before taxes and then also after taxes. After taxes would be that 20% that we just talked about.
I just have one more question. Someone who schedules an appointment with you guys, are there additional programs or what can they expect when they sign up for a session with you?
So I'm gonna ask a lot of questions. Obviously, I'm a chatterbox, right? I'm gonna ask a lot of questions to really get an idea of what their circumstance is. We meet you where you're at. So COVID has just really impacted so many households in so many different ways. You may not know that I can just, get you connected to some childcare subsidies or childcare assistance. And that might be what's, keeping you from being able to have a successful budget. The cost of childcare is expensive, you know? And then it could be the fact that, you've been maintaining your home, and you're really stretched thin. And I notice that you're not receiving any food stamp benefits right now, and you qualify for it based on your household and your income. Maybe that would be a good thing to do for the next 6 months. Apply, get approved, get some food stamps assistance during this time, to also alleviate some of that burden from your paychecks to going towards groceries. So student loans, we have team members that are very involved with student loans and the different repayments in order to reduce how much you're paying every single month, or even how much, what programs are out there to forgive the debt, like public loan forgiveness after 10 years. Um, so we have such a variety of areas that we specialize in. So maybe I don't have all the answers, but if I know that this is a situation that is concerning you, I'm going to try to connect you to who has the answer. We're not financial advisors. We're not a lawyer. Disclaimer, disclaimer. I am not a financial advisor to tell you where to invest your money, but I can provide you the education and the support you need to make that decision on your own.
So I just wanted to step in real quick. Right now we have a lot of clients that are asking questions about the child tax credit. We're also having clients ask, eviction moratorium, what does that mean? So a lot of these questions are really important to meet with us so we can discuss those and find out what your options are. So the great thing about the Houston Financial Empowerment Center is that we're able to connect with other services. So we're able to connect with the city. So if we can help you, we'll find someone who can, as far as like maybe, you need to apply for maybe the gold card, or maybe, but we're able to connect those dots, and it's hand holding. We're not just going to give you a referral. We sit with you, we work out a service plan, we really sit down and make sure, we are covering all of our bases. And then if there is something that you need on top of our services, then we will definitely call out that person and find out and make those appointments for you. We're also, what I really like about this program is that credit cards, everyone, rather than avoiding that call, let's face that call and let's do it together. So, when I say hand holding, it's literally hand holding. We are going to walk you through this call. We're going to be with you. We're going to talk you through it. We're going to help you, empower you with the questions that you need to ask in your rights. You want to learn your rights as far as what is the best, what is the best information for you? Like, what can I do? And how you can help yourself. So I think that all around, this is a really great program, and it's free. So there is no cost.
She nailed it. Nailed it. Isn't that awesome?
Well, thank you, ladies, so much for your time today. So much great information. We definitely appreciate you. I will be sending out after the webinar the ladies' information. So if anyone has any additional questions or wants to schedule a one-on-one with them, you can contact them that way. But yeah, thank you so much, Naomi and Anna, for joining us. We super appreciate you and all this great information.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Of course. Awesome. So we are going to go on to our second presenter. So Let me cue this up. There we go. So we have Miss Suzanne Senegal, who is going to join us for Metro. So Suzanne is a business development officer of the Client Services Department at Metro Transit Authority and has been in the client services industry for over 28 years. After attending college at TSU, she honed her professional communications, marketing, and problem-solving skills while working and achieving top sales marks at Fortune 500 companies such as AT&T, Sportsnet, Radio One Incorporated, CBS Radio, the Houston, Texas, and now the esteemed Metro Transit Authority. Now with Metro for 2 years, you'll often find Suzanne doing what she's best at, networking, analyzing, educating, and bridging the gap to ensure that communities, employers, and citizens alike are educated on Metro services. Thank you so much for joining us today, Suzanne.
Thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. So we will get started with Metro 101. As everyone moves around the city of Houston, you cannot help but run into a Metro service vehicle that could be a minivan, a bus, a car. You see Metro everywhere, the train. So how do you ride Metro? You think, well, I'll just hop on. But it's good to know a lot of things on the Metro website that can help you, these tools that can help you get around the city. I'll start with Metro's mission statement. Metro's mission statement has always been to provide safe, clean, reliable, and accessible, friendly public transportation to our region. And boy, safety comes to mind all the time, especially during these times that we're in right now. Next slide, please. So this is the map of Metro's service area. As you can see there in the blue, Metro goes just about everywhere you want to go. And how? On the local bus, on the commuter buses that are customized for communities and neighborhoods, on the park and ride bus, on the Metro Rail, Metro Lift, for those for ADA, the American Disabilities Act. We have buses that will just take you exactly where you need to go on a smaller bus for those in a wheelchair, etc. We also have Metro Star Van Pool that services 8 counties and surrounding areas. And we also have the HOV hot lanes that help you get through the Houston traffic a little bit more easier if you have multiple passengers. And then sometimes during non-peak hours, you can drive it for a fee by yourself as well. Next slide, please. So you want to know before you go. What would you like to know? To make your trip easier, everyone pretty much has this little device here, cell phone, that you can use to start planning your trip. You will, of course, you'll want to know, what's my destination? Am I going to one place? Am I making multiple stops? You'll want to know, which route should I take, or routes should I take? And which one will take less time? Which one will be more efficient for me? How much does it cost to ride? Where should I board the bus, which has changed during the times that we've been in the past? And how early should I be at my stop? And when will I reach my destination? All vital information that you can plan out ahead of time to make your trip that much easier on Metro services. Next slide, please. So how will you find out this information? ridemetro.org is the website that you can go to find out just about anything you'd like to know when riding. So ridemetro.org. Keep that in your phone, your little handy device. Keep that in your computer. We also have the Metro Trip app. There's always an app for that, and that includes at Metro. You can also call customer service. You talked about languages on your presentation, and Metro also has bilingual speakers, interpreters, and they can talk to you in multiple languages, even Mandarin. And we also have next bus arrival texting, which we'll talk more about that as well. Next slide, please. So let's talk about planning your trip. Right here, it says planning your trip is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Again, where do you go? You go to ridemetro.org. And right on the home page, you'll see kind of to the left where it says plan your trip. Enter your starting point, enter your destination, and click on get directions. As easy as 1, 2, 3. But you also get to see other information on our home page. At the very top there, it says service modifications. Very important. If there's any modification to the service, you can find updates at ridemetro.org. What could those be? For instance, if you're taking the red line, the train through the medical center, maybe there's a service interruption you need to know about. You can find that information at ridemetro.org. Next slide, please. Read and ride. We also have printable bus schedules. You can print out a PDF. You can save the PDF to your phone if you have a certain route that applies for you daily or one that's just on the weekend. You can save those routes. You want to verify the day and the week and the direction on the PDF there, as you can see. There, each day it shows you the times that you can board, the outbound, and it shows you also inbound. And those are very important that you check those out. So some folks say, well, we don't use a map anymore. We just GPS it. Well, this is sort of like the old school GPS, and it's very reliable. And these are updated as service changes come about. You want to also check the column below at the bottom, step number 4, to point to the time to confirm when your bus should arrive. Next slide, please. So Metro apps and next bus arrival text. This is what I talked about in the previous slide. So you can get real-time estimated arrival for your bus when you're standing right at the stop. You say, you can even, if you're at the office and you're about to get off work, hey, what time is my bus going to arrive? Go into your app and it'll tell you. You're like, oh man, I better grab my bag and boogie on out of here. So I can be down there a few minutes earlier and catch that bus and enjoy the ride home. Oh, one thing I'd like to say is that very soon, as you're enjoying your ride home on the buses, Metro will have Wi-Fi on the buses. So we had a pilot program with a couple of buses, and now eventually it'll start rolling out to more and more buses. It was announced that we will have that on all of the buses. And I like that look you gave me, that I didn't know that. So that's what we try to do. We try to wow you at Metro. While we're here for you every day, there are always things that are updated with you in mind. So some of the Metro apps that we have, some of the Metro apps that we have are the Metro Police Department Connect, MPD Connect. We'll talk more about that. But we always say, if you see something, say something, because safety, again, is paramount with Metro. We have the Metro Trip app. What is the Metro Trip app? It's planning your trip. Put in your destination, put in your timing, and you can plan your trip right on your phone. The interactive service map, it allows you to see in real time the map, the service areas. So you'll say, where is this bus stop? And you can pinch and squeeze and look at the map as you would like to. ridemetro.org. I'll be repeating this throughout, and there will be a quiz as to where you can find all of this information, everyone. ridemetro.org is your best friend. One of your best friends. We have a few best friends for you. And Gov Delivery, what is that? Gov Delivery is an update you can sign up for, an alert, that you can sign up for to receive it on your phone or your email. And you can select what you'd like to be updated about. Let's say there's weather alerts, which we always have the good old weather in Houston, Texas to take into consideration when you're planning your trip. If there's a hurricane alert, if there's a tropical storm alert, maybe Metro will be sending out information that could impact your ride. So we can help you get to your destination easier, by saying, don't take this route. Its service will shut down a little bit earlier, or even if there's a holiday update, you can receive those updates by signing up. The Q mobile ticketing app is where you can purchase a bus ticket on your phone. Next slide, please. So here on this slide, we try to show you step 1 and step 2. You want to find your bus stop. You've looked it up on the PDF. Now it's time for you to actually get out there. Here, this lady is looking at bus stop 82, and she needs to, or bus, the bus stop for bus 82 for that route, the Westheimer, which happens to roll around Westheimer every 10 minutes. It's coming about. It's coming about. So if you miss that bus, don't fret. There's another one coming right behind. And you'll notice on the bus stop there, it says this bus should stop to your stop. It's 82, it's circled, and at the top of the bus, it matches 82 Westheimer, West Oaks Mall. And also, we wanted to show you that on the front of each bus is a bike rack. So if you happen to bike to work, school, or any other place, you can also take your bike along. And you want to be sure to arrive to your bus stop about 10 minutes early to avoid, hey, and then the bus driver is already on his way. Next slide, please. So you're ready to begin your trip. Look at the bottom on the right of that bus in a circle. It shows you that this bus is handicap accessible. If you happen to be on a wheelchair, riding in a wheelchair, the bus operator will lower a ramp for you to enter on the bus there in the front. All of the Metro buses are compliant with 100% ADA accessible. Next slide. Okay, so let's talk about the type of fare or currency you need to pay your fare when you board Metro. We have, as you can see here, Metro Money that comes in a value on a card. It's like a paper card, and it comes in the value of $2.50. $2.50. It's $1.25 to ride each way on Metro. So you could get a Metro Money, a $2.50 card, if you'd like to use that at the end of the day and dispose of it. This card can be used on the bus or the rail, and it does allow 3-hour transfers in any direction. So let's just say I say, well, I'm going to take this, I'll take the bus to Target, and then when I leave Target, I would like to stop to Kroger before I go home. I can transfer and not have to pay another fee. There's only one user and no passback, and it is not reloadable. At the end of, when you use all the fare that's on there, the currency on there, you have to throw it away. And we also have the Metro Q card, as you can see there. It's an orange card and it's plastic. This card has benefits. They all have benefits. The other card had the transfers, and the Metro Q card also has the transfers. And I can't help but say this. I love to say, what's in your wallet? You have power when you have a Metro card in your wallet, be it Metro Money or the Metro Q card. But I'll continue talking about the Metro Q card. Again, if you use your Metro Q card 50 times, at the end of your 50 paid trips, you get 5 free trips. And sometimes we'll get a phone call and folks will say, hey, my card is not working. And we'll take a look at it by the serial number and say, because they've registered the card. And then we can say, oh, you're in the middle of your 5 free rides. And they get a big smile because they're happy about that. So one user also, you can't say, well, I have a bus card. I'll tap it for me and little Johnny. One card per user and no passback. Next, oh, when I say register your card, you'll want to register it so that way we know that you have the card. We know who you are, and also if there's an issue with your card, we can help you look up details about your card. How do you register? You can go to 1900 Main and register your card, or you can do it online. Pay your fare, day pass. This is where you can get a bus pass for just $3. Now, where on earth can you just ride all day long? You can't ride on Uber for all day long. But for Metro, you can with your day pass. It's $3 and it's unlimited for you to enjoy riding on the bus or the Metro rail. Next slide, please. You can also pay your fare cash, and discounts or transfers are not available when you pay cash. So you may want to take a look at getting that Metro Q card, but we do accept cash for you to ride on the bus. And you see how nice the bus operator is looking? That's the nice smile you'll get when you board on Metro. Next slide, please. Speaking of nice bus operators, we also have nice customer service help that can help you out. If you're not sure about your route and you've looked it up, or even if you haven't looked it up, we get asked a lot of questions all day, every day, and it's our job to answer your questions and help you get where you're going safely and efficiently. So the friendly operators can help you get moving in the right direction. You don't want to try to go northbound and you're on the wrong bus, and it could take you longer to have to go back and backtrack. So just ask the bus operator. They don't mind talking to you and giving you information. Also, customer service is open weekdays 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. and weekends 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. The number is 713-635-4000. Save it in your phone. They are your best friends. I told you we have a couple of people at Metro and departments that will be your best friend. And customer service, they don't mean to talk to you in a condescending way, but they will be like, now tell me what you see. Tell me where you are. And they are that specific about getting you where you're going based on where you are at that moment. They are very helpful. Next slide, please. So we ask that on the Metro services that everyone follows the rules, that we all get along with each other and be respectful of one another. There's no eating, drinking, smoking, or loud music that's allowed aboard the buses or trains. Again, we have a complete code of conduct. And if you see something, you can say something. We don't want you to say, hey, you're not supposed to be doing that. But you can use your trusty little phone to call Metro PD and report something if you do see something that you'd like to report. And you can even call Metro and make a compliment if you see something that's going the right way. It's not all complaints. So next slide, please. So you're riding on your bus and you're like, ooh, my stop is coming up. Is this it? No, that's not it. Is this it? Yeah, this is it. How do you stop the bus? Do you yell out and say, hey, bus driver, this is my stop? No, you don't have to do that. We have the yellow strips that are along the windows of the bus. You can press that. Also, if you're standing on the pole there, we have a button you can press. There's also on some buses a cord and then a button, as you can see at the top of some of the buses there, that you can press. So there's a lot of touching going on there, right? So I want to mention that we do have hand sanitizer on the buses and trains, in case you didn't know that. Next slide, please. Manage your fare card. So now we're talking about managing money with Metro. So you've just learned about financial empowerment a little bit there, and well, a lot of information. And now we're going to share with you how you can manage your card. So let's say you want to put $20 on your card. How would you do that? Do you have cash or do you have a debit or credit card? So we're showing you the machines that we have available to you, depending on where you are. At a transit center, you may see one of these machines. You may, if you're on the bus, there's what we call the back bus reloader. You may see that to the far left. It's cash only. And then we have the gen fares. The gen fares are, you can reload there and it's debit or credit. Doesn't take cash. The most popular machine that you may see there, and I know it's not necessarily called a machine, but a kiosk that you may see is the one in the center there. And it does accept cash, credit, or debit. And you can press multiple times to get 2 or 3 tickets if you'd like for an additional rider that may be with you. And then there are the others that you'll see there. You can always go to 1900 Main as what we call our home base and corporate office downtown, 1900 Main. And we do have a treasury window that you can go there to and purchase as well and reload. Next slide, please. Traveling safely with Metro. We have the bus operator that will communicate with Metro PD. At the bottom, you see non-emergency numbers. Again, I think this is maybe my 3rd time saying, if you see something, say something. We're a community, we're public transit, and we're trying to be respectful of one another so we can all get to where we want to go to as safely as possible. And if you see something, you can dial the non-emergency number. For emergencies, you would want to dial 911. Next, and you'll see this information at the top of the bus and at the top of the Metro rail. As you're seated or if you're standing, just look up and you'll see posted up there as well. Next slide, please. Safety is our priority. It's in our mission statement. What does safety exactly mean? Does it mean we want you to be safe when you're stepping on and off of the bus? Does it mean we want you to wear a mask? Yes. It is federal law still, right now until mid-September, we believe, that it is mandated everyone should wear a mask on public transit, and Metro is no different. The mask properly worn is over the nose and over the mouth. Now, sanitizing, that was a big question this past year and a half. Do you clean the buses? How are you cleaning the buses? Yes, the buses are cleaned daily. And you may see someone in an orange jacket, excuse me, I keep saying orange, a yellow safety jacket. Those folks are there to clean the buses at the end of the route, sometimes in the middle of the routes. When the buses go into their hub stations, they get cleaned. So sanitation has always gone on for Metro, but it's been increased on the frequently touched surfaces. And there, again, there's hand sanitizers on all the buses. Next slide, please. So I talked about masking up. Even though the state is not requiring folks to wear a mask when you go into restaurants or stores, when you are at a Metro bus stop, when you are a Metro transit center, and when you step onto a Metro service vehicle, we do ask that everyone, wear a mask so that we can all stay as safe as possible. Next slide, please. So let's recap. There's a lot of information that I've just given you, but where will you find all of this information? Online. ridemetro.org. Remember, save that in your phone. You have a rider checklist. Remember, you need to know where you're going, the destination, know where you are, and also you can plan your trip ahead of time. Download the apps, they're free, and save customer service number as well. Check the bus number. Well, find your bus stop and check your bus number and match everything up. Be sure you're stepping onto the right bus. Ask the bus driver and they'll tell you, oh, no, wait, you know what? That's the next one coming. Or step across the street. That's where you want to go. The bus operator is very knowledgeable and will help you. Request your stop. Press the button so you can get off at the right stop. And again, here's the number for customer service. Please save that, 713-635-4000. And thank you for your time and attention. Are there any questions? I'll talk a little bit about the park and ride. With the onset of COVID, some of the buses for the park and ride have been consolidated. We have another change coming up that will provide a little more bus service as more people are going back to work and beginning to ride more. And that change will happen on August 22nd. We also have board meetings that the public can speak at. So let's just say you would like to say that, there's a bus stop right by my house and there's nowhere for me to sit, and you would like to speak about that. You have 3 minutes that you can speak at a board meeting, but you must register. Go to ridemetro.org and look for board meetings and register, and you can register there. I believe you have to do it about 3 days in advance. So your opinion matters. Your voice will be heard by Metro. We service you. So everything we do is with you and your safety in mind. Buses usually begin at 5 a.m. Bus service begins at 5 a.m. in some areas. We also have a new silver line that runs through the Galleria. It is a bus that looks very much like a rail. It runs down Post Oak. And we'd love for you to check that out too at your leisure. You can find all bus schedules on ridemetro.org under bus schedules. It shows you the rail schedules, the bus schedules, the park and ride schedules. If I want to say that the Metro website is almost like a Bible. You can ask me something, and then I will always have to refer to the Metro website because things do change. And if anything changes, I don't want to give the wrong information. So I refer back to the Metro website a lot. So you can do the same thing, and you'll have the power of knowing more how to get to where you're trying to go more efficiently if you check out that website first.
Suzanne,
No
I
questions?
do have one question. Are there programs that people can take advantage of that would give them access to like a discounted fare or anything like that?
Thank you for that. Absolutely. We do have discounts for students. You have to go to 1900 Main and show your student ID and sign up. Those students ride for half price, essentially 60 cents each way. We also have discounts for seniors that are age 65, 70. Oh, if you're over 70, you get to ride for free. So we also have discounts for disabled veterans. Now with that, you do have to register, and there's a process. You just can't walk up and say, I'm a disabled vet. So you would have to get the form and have the forms fill out, bring them back to Metro. And also, those are the discount programs that we have. And for Metro Lift, there's also an interview process. So I couldn't just walk up and say, I'd like to ride on Metro Lift. I would have to go through an interview process, and you can find out those details on ridemetro.org as well. Thank you for that. Yes.
Thank you for that. That's
We
really good
absolutely have
information.
discounts.
Awesome. Well, I don't see any more questions coming in through the chat. So thank you, Suzanne, so much for your time. I definitely appreciate all this wonderful information about Metro and being an affordable transportation option as we are looking at budgeting households. So that'll be the end of our presentation. So again, wanted to say thank you to our presenters. So Naomi and Anna from the Houston Financial Empowerment Center, and then Suzanne from Metro. If you have any additional questions, like I said, I will be sending out everyone's information in an email afterwards, and this recording will be available on our website. So thank you so much for being here today, and we look forward to our next one, our final of our 4 series, which is on Tuesday, August the 17th. And that one is going to be over trades and certification programs. So anyone who is looking for an upskill or looking to switch directions and is looking for training and resources, we will have presenters from Sir Jobs and Work Texas, which is the gallery furniture program. So thank you so much for joining us today, and we'll see you guys next time.
Thank you.